And welcome everyone to another edition of the FTW podcast. FTW is a weekly WWE and TNA discussion where fans talk the wrestling world in all of its laughable glory. This is episode 215, recorded live on May 20th, 2014 on FTWLive.com. Tonight, we continue down the roads to Slammiversary, NXT Takeover, and WWE Payback. What are we most looking forward to on each card right now? And we also talk about the future of both the Divas and Knockouts now that Paige lost a match against Alicia Fox, and Xplosion will be relaunched with a more family-friendly focus. With us tonight is Joe. Say hello, Joe.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls in Radioland.
Nick. Say hello, Nick.
Damn you, Corey.
And making his triumphant return, Harrison. Say hello, Harrison.
I don't think it's that triumphant, but thank you very much, and I'm happy to be here.
Finally, it was three times a charm because we were about to introduce you the last 2 weeks, but you weren't there. So
yeah.
Anyways, my name is Garvin. I'll be moderating tonight's conversation. If you're listening live, we'll be pulling in your comments throughout the night. If you're on Twitter, we're also monitoring the hashtag askFTW and FTW Live. Get your questions in. We'll get to as many as possible. For a full archive of episodes as well as full show notes for tonight's conversation, you can check out FTWpodcast.com. All right, so TNA. Let's start this off with a bit of a kind of take a step back from where we were last week. I know that's TNA for you, but we were kind of called out because we were overly super negative on TNA last week, specifically the EY versus MVP storyline. That story, though, continued, and it seemed to kind of change some opinions overall on the internets. So, Nick, let's start with you. Are you okay with where they're going right now?
Yeah, for the most part. They've answered some questions about why MVP did what he did, and it makes sense to me. Given that MVP is a wrestler first and foremost, and a wrestler would think that way, the way he explained, that backstage power, like being the director of wrestling operations, that never lasts. But being the champion, having the gold, and with gold comes money and power of its own, that does last, and that makes sense to me. I'm hopeful that eventually this will lead him out of the backstage authority figure role, where it does make sense for him to continue getting into fights and matches. Just because I've said it all along, I'm not really a fan of the authority figure getting into fights, and him transitioning out of this role and into a championship contender's role, I think that would be best overall.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I guess I'm with you. The explanation that he had was fine. It was a good explanation. It gave us all the information we needed. Still, my only complaint was I just wasn't ready for that. I knew that MVP at some point was going to jump in there, but I did like MVP in that authority figure. He was the anti-Dixie, and that was cool. And I wish that they would have given him some more time to run with that instead of switching it up and going back to the role of the authority figure that we're used to, which is, hey, I'm a wrestler and I've got power, so I'm going to book myself in a match that, at a pay-per-view that many, suggest is one of the biggest, if not the biggest pay-per-view of the year for TNA.
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead. I lost my thought now.
All right.
Did you guys become Canadian while I was gone? I just want to know.
Go fuck yourself. No, we didn't.
Apparently not.
I think that MVP's role as an authority figure at first made sense just because of what Dixie was doing as an authority figure. She was putting everybody down and creating a reign of terror over the organization as a whole. And now that she's kind of restricted herself to Bully Ray, I don't think we really need opposition backstage to her anymore. So I think this move makes sense now. There's not really a reason for there to be a second authority figure anymore. Now that Dixie's kind of pulled back out of the limelight.
Well, she's not involved in matches, but I wouldn't necessarily say she's out of the limelight. Joe, your thoughts on this whole thing?
I get the MVP turn attacking UI. I like the fact that it happened because it was an inevitability, as you guys had already said. With MVP, with the wrestling background, everyone's like, we want to see MVP wrestle. We want to see MVP wrestle. And I like the shade of the gimmick that he's in. He's still that same MVP we've always known. But it's just it's a little different. It's a better heel than he's ever done before, in my opinion. I'm liking it, but I do agree with a lot of people who say it's too early. I think if they could have cemented him for another couple months as still that positive role, the face role, I think it probably would have worked out a little better. It wouldn't have seemed like if we would have had a little more fodder for it. You know what I mean? A little bit more spark. But I'm liking what they're doing. I love the ending of Impact. I don't know if we actually want to go into the details of that just yet, or
no, we can. I mean, how Impact ended was basically it was we were given how things were going to be moving forward. MVP had partnered himself with Kenny King and Bobby Lashley. I think Bobby Lashley makes sense because of the relationship with MVP that they've built so far. Kenny King, not so much. I'm not sure how that's going to fit in just yet. But no, I'm with you, Joe. I liked it as well. I like that idea, especially where it could go, which I'm hoping for, and that is the idea that MVP got rid of Bobby Roode, suspended him for indefinitely. We have no idea where Aries is, but both Aries and Roode are at odds with MVP, so this could end up being Aries and Roode teaming up with EY versus Kenny King, Bobby Lashley, and MVP, and I think there's a lot of quality matches ahead of us if that's the case.
Yeah, and I don't think we've ever seen Bobby Lashley as a heel. I mean, WWE, he was a face.
Mostly, yeah.
So I really like the fact that he came in to quote save EY and just blasted him. It worked. I was just like, okay, so now we're building a new faction here. So you got Kenny King, MVP, and Bobby Lashley. That's a force to be reckoned with, at least in the ring.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually like what TNA's been doing with the way they've been ending Impact. They're doing something they haven't really done in a little while, and that's leaving us with a hook to get us, if not excited, then at least interested in what's going to happen next week. MVP just coming out of nowhere with the heel turn and attacking EY. We want to know why he did that, and he explained that the next week. This past Impact, we ended with these three guys come together seemingly out of nowhere, and I assume we're going to be getting an explanation next week. I think that's a good way to keep people interested and watching Impact, and I got to give TNA props for finally fixating on that formula.
Yeah, about damn time.
So yeah, I think there is reason to be cautiously optimistic here. I want to be negative because of it always feels like TNA turns down this direction where it's authority versus the champion you want, at least in the last year and a half, 2 years it seems. But I think that unlike last time, which involved Dixie Carter, this can produce a lot of good matches, and we need to see MVP in the ring, I think. And it was only a matter of time. So, and I think this is good. I think this is a good move, and hopefully it continues in a good way. So, all right, let's move on to Bram. Bram's in-ring debut was this week. Now, the way they introduced Bram, it was Magnus's friend, his childhood friend or whatever, and it really seemed like they were going with kind of like a tag team thing. Bram was going to come and help Magnus become more dangerous. However, I'm kind of torn myself. I want to hear what you guys have to think. And that is the idea, would you rather see a tag team, Magnus and Bram as a tag team, or Magnus versus Bram at Slammiversary?
Well, I mean, he's just a duplicate of Gunner. I'm kidding. Although when they first came on screen, that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, what's Gunner doing there? They're not having Gunner play a different character. Bram is not going to be like the Willow for Gunner, is it? Because that's really lame, because he's not even wearing a mask.
Well, I mean, obviously it's not the same guy. Bram is Kenneth Cameron from NXT. Well, I was going to say the original incarnation of the Ascension, but that's not quite accurate. He used to be part of the Ascension, and he was a really good teammate for Brian O'Connor. I just think it was a shame that he had to leave NXT the way he did. But I'm glad he's here in TNA because so far he's looked pretty great. I like the dangerous, almost feral side of Bram that he displays whenever he's in the ring or around the ring, and always bringing in weapons and trying to get Magnus to, I guess, stoop to his level. I'm kind of with you, Garvin. I'm torn on where I think they're going to go. Because I do like the idea of Bram and Magnus becoming a tag team, because obviously that division could use a couple more teams. But it would also be interesting to see Bram and Magnus go head-to-head, with Magnus refusing to resort to brutality for its own sake rather than winning matches. And even there, I don't know what I would want out of that. I don't know if I'd want Magnus to triumph over Bram, or if I would want Bram to forcibly convert Magnus to his side.
Why
There's
not
a lot of interesting directions.
Oh, why not do something like WWE did when they had MVP and Matt Hardy? They'd been feuding for so long over the U.S. title, and then even with that out of the picture, they were forced as a tag team and actually excel as a tag team. You could have them eventually be at odds, but have to, for some reason, stay together as a tag team. Then you could get the best of both worlds.
I don't know, maybe.
I mean, you have to work in some type of odd stipulation there, but it could happen.
Yeah, I guess. I just don't know what that stipulation would be.
Yeah, I think regardless of...
You have to stay together, or else we're going to hire back Vince Russo.
Jesus. Regardless of direction, I think there's a lot of cool opportunities here. Bram, I like the character. I don't know where Magnus fits here. So, like, it does seem like they're going to go with tag team route, and I really like that idea. I like having some more competition for the Wolves. I think Wolves versus Bram and Magnus could be really cool. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think Bram versus Magnus would be sweet as well. So either way, I think that is a positive that we can dwell on for sure. Okay, so speaking of debuts, we saw the in-ring debut of Crazy Steve. So let's talk about the Menagerie. Is it doing anything for you, Nick?
I see potential there. I'm excited about Rob Terry coming back, and I think Nux has a lot to offer. I think even Crazy Steve would, if we could get away from the clown antics. I think there's room for some of that, but this past segment from this past Impact, I don't know what the fuck was going on there. That just evolved into insanity, and I guess if it's a one-time thing, I think it's acceptable, but I hope it doesn't become a trend.
I think it's just a sign they're going to have to always rein in Crazy Steve, because crazy shit's going to happen.
He's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you take that away from him, what do you got?
Used car salesman.
Yep.
It was kind of funny to watch Rob Terry get on the ramp and just rock back and forth on the ropes. If it had stayed there and it ended like a regular match, I think it would have been pretty hilarious. But yeah, that was just. I think it's too early for the Menagerie's appearance here on Impact to just go absolutely nuts like that without having a clear picture for what they're gonna do.
Yeah, our mantra is let's wait and see what happens. Let's see how this progresses. This is week 2, so there is plenty of time to see them grow, but it does bother me that there is no obvious point of them. There is no obvious goal. They aren't here to like do anything. It seems it just
isn't Nux there to like to get money to help his friends or family or some shit?
Yeah,
that whole deal.
That was part of the story, but that I don't think that really has been brought up again. There really isn't anything brought up. It's basically the way I see it. You know, they came from the circus, I guess, right? That's the gimmick, circus.
Yeah, the carnival.
They're a sideshow, and what they're doing is they're bringing the sideshow to TNA, and that really bothers me. That's not what I want to see. I want to see wrestling. I want to see it made obvious what their end goal is, and it's just like they're just I don't know what they're doing, and it. The thing that really bothers me, well, there's two things. A, Kaz did not care. He did not give it one single shit that entire match, and that was obvious. So that bothered me. The other thing that bothered me is their music never ended. It was basically Sin Cara's entrance with the lights, and they kept the lights on the entire time, and we all hate on that because that's dumb. Well, it was that plus music the entire time.
Like
so
Crazy Steve is New Jack 2.0. It's awesome.
You just have this music blaring and the commentating team like yelling over the music.
When is TNA gonna hire what's his name? Abraham Washington, just have him talk the entire match?
Oh, dear. So yeah, wait and see. That's what we want to do. I think that's what we have to do here, but it is not starting off well. That's for sure. If you read the Facebook group, our Facebook page, Twitter, anywhere on the internet, I don't think there is a single person that is completely entertained by this. They are not winning.
You know, Joe, you joke about the Abraham Washington thing, but actually, I wouldn't mind it if Nux took the mic and just started doing the ringmaster gimmick.
Yeah.
During the match, like he's advertising what Crazy Steve or the Freak is doing and hyping it up for the crowd. I think that'd be pretty interesting.
Actually,
have him, or even put it on what's her name? The
Rebel.
Rebel. Thank you. Rebel could be doing that. She could be. I mean, unless she's going to start spitting fire or something out of her. Anyway.
No, you bring
unless
up.
She gives somebody the FFG with actual flames.
I don't know if I trust a former Dallas Cowboys cheerleader to talk.
I was going to say, all she's got to do is, wasn't that amazing after somebody hits a splash off the top rope, or, oh, Crazy Steve's going to do one of his death-defying stunts.
No, I think that role is perfect. Not for Rebel, though. I would like them to bring up the ring announcer from Clash Wrestling. He's already got the outfit. I think he'd be perfect for it. I think he'd be perfect for it. So yeah, that would definitely add something. But still, we need to know what the point is, where they're going with this. I don't know. But I'm guessing this week we're going to see Rob Terry in the ring, and the match probably not to end. It'll probably be like a DQ of some sort again. So, anyways, let's move on from that.
Nux won his clean.
That's true. But Nux does seem to be the wrestler of the group, and the other guys are just sideshow guys.
True.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about Xplosion. That is something that we really haven't done on the FTW podcast. I don't think ever. But it's as it stands right now, it's a UK only show. I think it airs on Challenge Sunday nights or something along those lines. I think it airs after Impact, and Impact airs on Saturdays or Sundays. I don't whatever. UK's weird schedule. But they are moving Xplosion to Saturday mornings. The idea is you talk to a lot of people from our generation for sure, then they want to see, like they miss seeing Saturday morning wrestling. So that's what they're going to be doing with Xplosion. It's still only UK, but they're hoping that a Spike TV would be up to pick it up as well on a Saturday morning. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But at the end of May, so starting next week, they're going to kind of refocus it. So the big news out of it is it's mainly going to be the same format. So a new match, or at least one new match, a match from the archives, and then we're also going to see the spin cycle, which is basically a panel discussion, like what we do on the podcast, except for Jeremy Borash is in my spot, and the wrestlers are responding. So in character, of course. So, but
the best spin cycle they ever did though was recent, and it was they were doing who had the best pickup line, the Bromans, and it was the Bromans. Who was it? Bromans. Zima Ion and EC3 and Spud.
That's been the panel as of late. It seems like the last 4 or 5 have been that.
Yeah, and they were trying to pick up a ODB.
Yeah.
That was, if you haven't seen it, go look it up on the TNA Wrestling channel because it's fucking hilarious.
Actually, we'll get into that as far as how to obtain it. But all right. So, anyways, it's going to focus on the Knockouts division and the X division. That's what they said in the press release. That's how Jeremy Borash has been promoting it. So, do you think this is going to be the second TNA show that we've all been hoping for? Nick?
I think so. It definitely makes sense that this would be the second show because of all the divisions in TNA, it's the Knockouts and the X division that suffer the most from lack of TV time. And to make it a second show for the UK, obviously it's a very tame audience for TNA. The UK audience loves the TNA programming. And if it succeeds over there, maybe that would be, or if it does well enough over there, maybe that would give TNA more incentive to bring it over to the States and try it out over here. So I'm very hopeful this is the case.
Yeah, I guess I would like to see it. See it move. I don't know if it's necessarily the second show we've been hoping for, though. I find that I guess I've never seen Xplosion, so Spin Cycle is really the only thing that I've really caught, and only on I think YouTube,
right?
And I can't see a show that being a show. I see that being a segment of a show, but I definitely don't see that being a whole show.
Yeah, well,
a half-hour show.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Xplosion as it stands. If you're like most of us, and you search for this stuff, it's really difficult to find, even on YouTube. Challenge TV, they don't release it on their official YouTube account or anything else from what I can tell. TNA has not been releasing this stuff either for whatever reason. So we have to go through basically illegal means to get Xplosion outside of the UK. So not to point fingers, but like TNA Asylum, they've got it there. I think there's someone on staff who lives in the UK that can grab that at least the match results. I know they've been posting match results. We used to post the new match on Fans Talk Wrestling as well. So, but yeah, I mean that's my problem. This can totally be the second show we want. I think for sure to have a couple new matches would really help. It would help new guys trying to get over. It would help the X division and the Knockouts get the TV time they deserve, or at least kind of mix it up. Have their segments on Impact and have their matches on Xplosion. I think would be fine as long as they make it readily available. And for the longest time, it wasn't. It wasn't readily available, but. Nick, you say that both the match and Spin Cycle are on TNA's YouTube channel now?
Yes, you can find it. It's filed under Xplosion clips, both the Xplosion match and Spin Cycle. So.
And how recent is that?
Let me see. The last Xplosion match is from May 7th, and let me pull up the Spin Cycle. The last Spin Cycle one is after. Okay, it's the same day, May 7th.
Okay. So yeah, I mean,
and that's the pickup contest one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, but it's not next day. I think you can get it next day from somewhere else. But TNA does look like they are releasing it now, which is good. I mean, that's good. It needs to be more readily available. If they want to use that as their second show, they need to not only put the content on there that we want to see, but they also need to make it a point to stick within the story that they're telling, and that's something else that they really haven't been doing. The matches that happen on there don't necessarily affect what's going on with everything else. But BFG series is coming up. I think this would be a perfect opportunity to include some BFG series stuff outside of Impact.
Yeah, they count matches that happen on Xplosion, so
yep.
I don't see why not.
So, okay, cool. Well, Slammiversary is coming up June 15th. Our TNA Slammiversary pre-show would take place on June 10th. FTW215, so that's 2 weeks from now, I think, 3 weeks from now. Probable matches, we've got Abyss versus Magnus. Bram fits in there somewhere. Bully Ray and EC3 will probably have a match. Maybe James Storm versus Anderson. That seems to be where they're going. Wolves versus Bromance is another option. Who knows? Maybe Magnus and Bram will get that nod as well. Angelina Love could defend the Knockouts Championship against Gail Kim. And who knows what they're going to do with the X Division Championship. Sonata versus DJ Zima Ion. I have no idea. We've got plenty of time to find out, but they really haven't been building those feuds all too well. But what we do know, the main event of Slammiversary will be EY versus MVP. I'm hoping, in addition to that, we'll also see Rude and Aries versus Bobby Lashley and Kenny King. Think that would be fantastic. So, let's jump on over to some WWE. Daniel Bryan, he was the big newsmaker over the last couple of weeks because of his neck surgery. It was a successful neck surgery, so he's basically out. And real quick, am I still quiet?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, a little bit.
Oh, keep talking.
Yeah. So this is
okay. I know what it is. I bumped the volume control on my neck.
Okay. Let me make a quick edit note. Sorry, guys who are listening live.
Sorry about that, fuckers. I love you though.
All right. So, let's jump into some WWE. Daniel Bryan has been making the news as of late because of his neck surgery. He just got out. I think he had it on Thursday. He was already doing WWE videos on Friday, so successful neck surgery is what they're saying, but still no timetable. We'll know next week if he'll be stripped, which Stephanie McMahon is contemplating, it seems. So, do you think they will strip Daniel Bryan, and if so, who would you insert into that role until Bryan returns? Harrison, I haven't heard from you in the entire show, so let's start with you, boy.
Yeah, boy.
I don't think they're going to strip him from the title because every single contestant that I can think of that they would give is involved in a major storyline right now. Most of those people being in Evolution. So I can't see who they would give Daniel Bryan's title to aside from possibly Kane. That's the only one I can think of. Everybody else is involved in a major storyline, and if you're going to do that, you're going to want to give him heel. You're going to want to give whoever they give the title to some solid heel heat. And for me, that would be either Batista or Orton. But with Evolution going up against Shield and that going pretty well, for me, that's definitely my pick.
The most likely name I could think of, I'm not really sure they want to continue Kane versus Daniel Bryan, but if Daniel Bryan does get stripped of the title, I could definitely see it ending up on Cesaro. And Obviously, the matches those two would have when Daniel Bryan was healthy and came back to get his title back, they would be absolutely phenomenal. But you also have to consider that eventually, at some point, Brock Lesnar is going to show up and make his case for the title. And I could see if Cesaro is put into the title spot, I could see Brock Lesnar getting pissed at Paul Heyman for pushing Cesaro ahead of him, and then those two would go at it. So that could easily make up at least 3 or 4 months of programming right there, if not 6.
Cesaro, though? I mean, I don't want to. I mean, I feel like that's kind of a. I mean, that's kind of a crappy rejoiner, but yeah,
I think that's
feel
where
like
they're pushing
really
him with Paul Heyman's involvement.
I don't know. I think you're right with Brock Lesnar being able to come in and step in, but right now we still don't know the extent of the Bryan injury.
Right.
I almost said Bryan Danielson, for fuck's sake. Wow, that's a flashback.
Hipster.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. I sound like a Scot, yeah? No. But wow, that just totally went off the rail.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, he's doing his impression of Notch, yeah. Oh, that's
Oh man,
that
what
just
the
harkens
hell was
back
that?
to his podcast called Lamp the Lethal Injection Minecraft Podcast. That being said, I think Lesnar's a good option. They haven't said how long Bryan's out for with a neck injury. All the photos we've seen, he's not wearing a neck brace. He's not unless that beard is just that crazy wild. But he's no halo, no neck brace. So I mean, I know they did repair of a nerve, or they unpinched a nerve or something like that, or
Yeah, I think it was decompressing a nerve.
decompressing a nerve. Yeah. So I can see how that might not need some type of brace, because I'm sure that on the grand vertical scale of things, it may not be a whole lot of work. I mean, obviously it's important work and very, nuanced work, but the fact that he's not wearing a neck brace right now says to me that he's going to be back sooner than later. So they're going to drag this out because they have to, because it's the top tier title. But I think just as they're about ready to strip him of it, or maybe they're even going to have a match, that he's going to come interfere and claim it back. Makes for a great story.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Joe. I don't think they're going to strip him. I think they're going to wait. They have the time to wait. They don't need this match at Payback. There's 2 other matches that are currently selling the pay-per-view for me, and that's Cena versus Wyatt and Shield versus Evolution. I think those 2 matches are going to be good enough on their own that they don't need this main event. They don't need to rush Bryan back. And again, there's also the precedent, like we talked last week. There's also the precedent that CM Punk was gone for almost a month and a half before he defended the title. Again, he skipped out on a pay-per-view because of he was saving himself from an injury. So, I think they have a bit of leeway, and I think that would be totally fine. So no, they're not going to strip Bryan, but some ideas being thrown out in the live chat. One obviously is Lesnar. I think if they do strip him, Lesnar seems like a guy that would step in there. They already have the story. I do like the idea of Cesaro, but yeah, I think Cesaro is already being lined up to take on Sheamus for the U.S. Championship, which is another thing that's being discussed in the live chat. So yeah, I think overall Lesnar would be the go-to guy. But some quick thoughts from the live chat. The first is they should just throw it. They should just throw the title into Cena versus Wyatt.
No, I don't think so. I think that's going fantastic without it.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's going to have to go to Brock Lesnar or maybe Cesaro, but if it's going on Lesnar, it's got to stay on Lesnar for a while.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I don't see that happening with Lesnar's limited dates.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that, I mean, you don't reach the title on Lesnar for a short bit, and that makes the David versus Goliath story with King O'Brien that much more difficult, I guess.
Another idea being thrown out is this one from Styles Clash. He said, "If I were in the Authority, I'd put it on Rusev. He's a powerhouse that has not lost a match yet." Too soon to put it on Rusev, do you guys think?
Yeah. How is that debated? Do not tell me I'm the sole voice of reason on this show thinking that Alexander...
You've never been the sole voice of reason on this show.
Right now.
No,
There were two of us. You have never
No,
been.
I agree with you, Harrison. Like, if you guys are saying it's too soon for Cesaro to be put in there, it is way too soon for Rusev to be put in that spot. I mean, that's faster than Ryback getting pushed into the main title scene.
The ink on his HR forms isn't dry yet, and you want to give him the big title in the company. No.
I'm with you. I'm not ready for that either. I think I could understand the viewpoint of the Authority to want to do that, but without anyone lined up to take on Rusev until Daniel Bryan returns. You know, say Bryan is out for a couple months. I don't see why they would do that. Another idea, though, if there does need to be a stripping, 6-way ladder match next month for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I do like that, too. That would be Money in the Bank.
So then you've got one Money in the Bank case on that. I like that.
I like that, too, because you're going to need another ladder match at Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's going to be the first time without, too, isn't it?
Well, who knows? I mean, they could end up doing a Money in the Bank for the IC cash in. Maybe
or just a Legends Money in the Bank match or something like they did. Isn't that what they did last time? Or that was it wasn't for the belt.
I have no idea. Are you talking about the Legends Royal Rumble
No.
match?
I think you're talking about the Raw Money in the Bank thing where it was just like the elite guys.
Yeah. They might do something like that.
All former champions.
Yeah, I can't remember what that's
champions.
called.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was like the former champions ladder match or whatever. Yeah, they could do something like that.
I could see it.
Yeah,
I mean, I personally don't really see the point of having a ladder match at Payback and then having Money in the Bank 1 month after. Doesn't that kind of steal Money in the Bank's thunder?
Well, no, it would be at Money in the Bank. For that story to make sense, I mean, he did say next month. Next month is June. June's pay-per-view. Well, the end of June pay-per-view is Money in the Bank.
Okay.
So it would make sense to me.
So Lou in the chat is saying Mark Henry, and as far away as that's not going to happen, I really like that because I think the best part. I do. The best stuff he was doing in the past 5 years of his career was when he was going after that belt with Cena. That was great stuff.
If they're going to do that, then they have to do one thing for me, which is remix his theme and really just have Jericho sing it like he does on the This Is Jericho podcast. Because you get to cowbell and he's like, somebody going to get the ass kicked, somebody going to get the ass whoop, ding, 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 somebody going to get the ass. It's worth listening to on a Friday because he does it every Friday now. It's brilliant. It really is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still sticking with the idea that it's not going to happen. There's tons of names that we could throw in there that we would love to see. Guys who haven't gotten the push that probably should have. Mark Henry is one of those guys. No. They're going to wait and see. They're going to drag this out as long as they need to. Because they didn't invest this much time into Daniel Bryan to just strip him of the title.
Exactly.
So, all right, let's move on. Speaking of championships, Paige picked up her first loss cleanly to Alicia Fox this week. Your thoughts on that? On basically the match and the feud so far, Joe?
This is like the reinvention of Alicia Fox. I'm digging this. Now, the fact that she lost at home, okay, to me that's not that big of a deal. WWE has that happen a lot. Every time they went to Oklahoma, JR got fired or had to kiss Vince McMahon's ass. So, whatever.
Every time.
Just
Even
about
when he was
every
going
time.
home to visit family.
Every time the show went to Raw, or went to... Okay, now that I'm done having my stroke. But anyway, like, her loss, that's fine. But Alicia Fox has this new fire to her, which is awesome. It's something she's needed. It's a character that we've been needing. The only person who's had this fire in let's say, the last year or two was AJ when she was in pursuit of the title.
Correct.
We haven't seen, and that's just because she's batshit crazy. Outside of that, we haven't seen anybody like this, and they needed somebody to step up and do something like this. Alicia Fox had just the right gimmick in order to do so. You know, she had that, you know, kind of, for lack of a better term, diva mentality, you know, where it's me, me, me kind of thing. And how she, you know, wants the limelight, has that weird fashion sense deal going on. I'm digging it. All of a sudden she snaps and she's beating ass. I mean, just starting off with that boot, brilliant. Loved it. I'm very impressed with how she's improved, and I think working with Paige, I think they have a very similar speed in a match, and I think it's going to work out well.
Yeah, I definitely like this decision to legitimize Alicia Fox once again, and just remind everybody just why she is a veteran presence in the division, and why she is a former champion. It's also nice to see a non-total diva get some airtime, get some mic time even.
Yeah, but on the flip side there, Nick, she is like what? She's like the main person they talk to for the Total Divas recaps after the Total Divas show. So she's really,
I wouldn't know anything about that.
I've caught a few clips on the WWE YouTube channel.
Well, I mean, so
Still
is
retaining
Tyson
Mankind.
Kidd and Fandango. So, it's just nice to see somebody that's traditionally been shunted aside in favor of the Bellas and Natalia and the Funkadactyls. It's nice to see somebody else get some time in the sun.
I agree.
Yeah, the only thing I think of is there is that aspect of you always lose in front of your home crowd kind of thing, but I think they don't want Paige to be another AJ, where we have this pinnacle of a character that is on top of the division and is essentially untouchable. And they kind of did that with AJ, and they kind of went to the well with it, and I don't think there's anything really left there. So I think by having Paige lose to Alicia Fox, especially the fact that Alicia Fox is looking so good, I like it. I think it'll liven up the top area of the Divas division, which is definitely something that needs to happen.
Yeah, and that booking style is being talked about in live chat. You know, how much longer do they need to continue to book Paige to look like she's always overwhelmed by the competition that's in WWE? So I think it does feel like they're doing the opposite of what they did with AJ, which is okay. I mean, it's a nice change. I think at some point though, Paige is going to have to dominate at some point. There's going to have to be some junction where she turns the corner and looks like she belongs there. You know, right now it's as if they're having her opponent, whether it's Oksana or Alicia Fox, dominate her, and then she sneaks out the win. Except for this week, which, you know, Alicia Fox picked up the win pretty clean. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I do have to disagree.
Go ahead.
I do have to disagree with that general sentiment where she looks like she's being overwhelmed. For one thing, you have to remember that obviously the NXT audience doesn't translate completely over to the main roster audience.
Correct.
People don't understand why Paige would be in a position to dominate long-standing divas that have been in that division for a while, and it makes sense for Paige to have difficulty while she's getting her feet under her in this new environment. But even so, it hasn't been completely just divas that have been jobbing to the Total Divas for forever. It's not just them dominating most of the matches. Like, her match at Extreme Rules, she controlled a lot of that match against Tamina. She made it look like she
Correct.
had Tamina's number.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That was the only match to me that it seemed like she really belonged. But I think it's just a matter of what we're used to. What we're used to has been AJ completely wasting everyone that she's been in the ring with, whether it's Alicia Fox or Oksana or the Funkadactyls or whatever, and she just dominated every single match. This, however, it's the opposite. So Paige got a sneaky win, basically over AJ, kind of hit her out of nowhere, type of thing. Then we've gotten every other win that she's received outside of the pay-per-view. I agree with that. Outside of that, it has been kind of like last minute Cena's Super Cena, style thing where it doesn't matter how much she's been beaten down, she hits her finisher out of nowhere and gets the pin or submission. We're there. So I don't know. Let's agree to disagree on that.
I don't miss that.
But I do like where the Divas are going. I think this feud is good. I like the build of Alicia Fox. I like that she finally got a win here. It does seem like we're going to see Alicia Fox versus Paige at Payback, which is much better than Paige versus Oksana, which seemed to be the other choice that they were going to go with early on. So, no, I'm totally cool with this. So, all right, let's move on to some Adam Rose. Quick question. Are you a lemon or are you a rosebud when it comes to Adam Rose? Joe.
Looking at what we've got so far, and only on WWE TV, not counting NXT, because I didn't catch him while he was really in NXT. I'm going to say a lemon. Not impressed so far. It's nice that the British crowd basically fandangoed him out, or they just kept singing his theme. I thought it was funny on Raw when all of a sudden his little menagerie there, not to cross promotions, but the what do you call them?
Exotic Express.
Yes, the Exotic Express. Yes, the poor man's acid trip. Yeah. When they started dancing to the crowd singing the theme, I was like, okay, that's kind of funny and like good for them on picking up on it, but I'm not impressed so far. But we haven't really gotten anything of substance. We just have the catchphrase and the plethora of guys surrounding him.
It's just mic work.
I'm a lemon.
It's mic work. It's solid mic work. But Joe, you got it. There's nothing really here to bite into. I mean, he's excellent on the mic. He looked great on Raw last night. He's got the charisma, and he's definitely got more. If you had to look, so basically he's like the second coming of Fandango, and if I had to take at the same time Fandango and Rose, I give Rose I give Rose more longevity than I do Fandango. He may not have that, I don't think people on the Today Show are going to be doing the Adam Rose or whatever it is, or people dressing up in a bunny outfit and trying to breakdance, but I really think that he's got a little more of the it factor. And I think he's got potential, but we're just not seeing. I mean, we're seeing the potential, but we're not seeing the realization of it.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily a big fan of how the WWE is dragging things out before putting Adam Rose into a match. But I completely agree with you, Harrison. He's definitely got his ring presence down, and I like how he's just basically making this gimmick work for him, especially if you can recall what he was like when he was Leo Kruger. It's just night and day how much of a transition this is, and that impresses me.
He looks so
comparison
relaxed.
to Fandango. What's that?
He looks so relaxed, is what I've noticed with this gimmick and with everything. He just looks so comfortable with it, and it's only been not even that long. What, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah. He didn't have that gimmick for long in NXT before he made the move out to Raw. maybe a couple months. So not long at all. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him in a match with Swagger. I think those two would work well together. I've definitely liked their interaction along with Zeb. I think that's just been money. And if anybody can put Rose over, it's definitely Zeb, being the crotchety old man that just doesn't get it. So, color me a rosebud.
I agree, but I still think it's weak formula. It's a weak formulaic deal. I don't find it.
Lemon.
Boo, Joe, boo.
I'm a lemon, damn it.
Yeah, it depends on who we ask. If we asked on Twitter, and everyone that responded to us seemed to be a lemon. On Facebook, it was the opposite. In the live chat, everyone's a rosebud. Joe, I am with you. I am a lemon. I think this gimmick is awful, and I think the way that they're pushing it is definitely fail of the week level, for sure.
I think Robert Carmichael hit it, and I've said this too, that he's kind of like Russell Brand. He says Adam Rose is Russell Brand meets Dude Love with a mean streak.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, we can look at what the UK crowd did and use that as our gauge. Yes, he got over, I guess. I guess you can say that the crowd was into the thing, but at the same time, the crowd was very into Fandango. That lasted however many months, but they weren't into Fandango. They were into the song. They were into the experience of being able to, interact in that type of mass crowd interaction type of thing. I think they're doing the same thing here. It doesn't necessarily mean that Adam Rose is over. Harrison,
I think the big difference between Fandango and Adam Rose is, like Harrison said, it just feels natural with Adam Rose. With Fandango, it's not a good fit at all between him and his gimmick. That became obvious once he started talking on a live segment. It's very forced, and he doesn't really make it work that well.
Sure.
Every time Fandango says his name, it sounds like he's saying it for the first time.
It just seems like it's gotten worse and worse every time he says it.
And this whole gig with Summer Rae, this whole program with Summer Rae is just such crap, especially after Monday night. I'm done. That is just such terrible booking.
But
it's almost like they decided to turn Summer Rae face so that they could have a reason for Layla to be on TV for the UK tour.
Yeah.
Summer Rae's a total diva, so obviously she has to be face.
Yeah, there is that.
True.
But at the same time, and they even said, like, I bet this is going to spill over into Total Divas. It's a premiere in this or this Friday or whatever. I don't know. I just hate the fact that that this guy treated me like crap, so I'm going to beat you up because he's my man. What self-respecting woman does that?
Every single WWE diva or knockout over the last 2-3 years, it seems.
Okay, there is that.
That's
the cynical answer.
That's a common thread.
Sadly.
Yeah, no, okay. Let me take a step back. I do agree that he does look comfortable. He nailed the segment as far as being able to interact with the crowd, and when even Renee Young was kind of fumbling with it, he was able to pick up. So I agree. If we're going to compare Adam Rose with Fandango, Rose is better suited for that role, but I'm not into it.
No, I completely understand where you're coming from, Garvin, but my point is it's the same thing with like Titus O'Neil. When I saw him in that terrible segment with The Miz and Strahan, and just how it just was a disaster, and Titus saved it. And like you said, like the segment, he was the one who, out of everybody in that thing, with the exception, not even Zeb looked all that comfortable. Maybe it was jet lag or whatever, but Rose looked fine. He looked like the old veteran. He looked like the guy who's been doing it for years. And he was fine. He was just completely comfortable standing around, in this crowd and working the segment like he did. So for me, I see a lot more potential with him than I ever did with Fandango, whatever.
Yeah. I can't argue that then. All right. Well,
bitch.
Let's move on real quick. I tweeted this out. I also posted this on Facebook, and I was absolutely stunned with how epic Luke Harper is in the ring. That match was fantastic. I want to know how soon before Luke Harper is fighting for titles. I mean, it could be tag team titles, it could be singles titles. How soon before we can get him wrestling more often? Let's start with you, Harrison.
Garvin, you are absolutely right. I was watching Raw on Hulu this morning at work, and I was chatting with Garvin and Joe, and I was making a comment about the beginning of Raw, and that was the first thing Garvin said was like, "Wait until you get to Harper's match. It was amazing." And you are absolutely right. That match was fantastic. I don't see him getting the belts for at least a year. Any belts, because it's just there's a long line ahead of him. Is the problem. I mean, the tag belts, you got so many great tag teams that, well, you can say Usos, you can say
Usos have the titles.
Yeah, I mean, you get the Usos, you can say the Shield kind of can go for the tag belts again, but they're probably going to split up. The point is, as far as I'm concerned with Luke Harper, he's just going into a very crowded area if he's going for the belts. Maybe the U.S. title? But other than that, I don't see any real room for him, at least for like the next 6 to 8 months, which takes us into 2015.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's soon enough, because obviously Luke Harper is talented in every way imaginable, it seems like. And Rowan is not that impressive by himself, but together as a tag team, those two work really well. And they've already got something of a pedigree. They're NXT Tag Team Champions. So I've just been waiting for them to pull the trigger on letting the Wyatts loose in the tag team title scene. And realistically, there's not really that many teams I could see being put ahead of them. Like, obviously, there are teams that have been together longer and working together, like the Usos, the Rhodes brothers, Ryback. But realistically, which one of those teams do you see being pushed ahead of the Wyatts?
That's a really good point, Nick. I didn't think about that. But let me throw another monkey in your wrench. Luke Harper, after watching him Raw, do you think that helped Luke Harper, or do you think that helped Bray Wyatt more?
I don't know.
Garvin, I'm a little tired. All right, I have 4 hours of sleep last night.
Are you Irish whipping that monkey into the wrench, or?
Yes, I am. This is gonna be a fun show, yo. Look, I've had 4 hours of sleep last night. Anyway, Nick, my point is, when the better Luke Harper does, the better Bray looks, and that's kind of what I'm thinking here as far as him going after any titles. You think Bray Wyatt would end up with any gold before him, but just the better that Luke does, the better Bray looks.
Yeah, that is a fair point, but I have to go back to when they were tag champions in NXT. Bray showed absolutely no inclination towards getting gold for himself. He was advancing the family, and he was aiding Harper and Rowan in their quest for gold and then helping them retain it. So I can only assume that he would do the same thing here on the main roster too.
See, I like Luke Harper, and I think he's doing great work, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon that he's going to get the title. I think you're right on that one, Harrison. I don't know about a whole year, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be close to that, I think. Outside of a tag team, though, if you're talking purely singles, tag team, I could see it within a year.
Well, here's the thing. You got to think it's May now. He's probably not going to get any belt for at least another 4 or 5 months. And at that point, we're going to start ramping things up on the road to WrestleMania and start building up the storylines and the belts that are going to be fought for between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So if he's going to get the strap, it's got to be soon if he's going to have any kind of decent run with it, unless he becomes the guy that someone else is going to take the belt from. And he's just not that built up yet. We're kind of falling into this gray hole where he's just not going to be able to, where it's not totally lost, but if he's going to get the belt, it's got to be within the next couple months.
Well, that build does already kind of exist with the Usos being John Cena's backup essentially.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
if Bray Wyatt wants to get the Usos out of the way so he can get at John one-on-one, he might throw Harper and Rowan at them to challenge for the titles.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Nick. That would. So what are you thinking? That would be like the first immediate storyline that you have? Because what have the Usos got going on right now? Nothing really.
Yeah, there's not really anybody else gunning for the belts right now.
There's tons of tag teams out there. Tons of quality tag teams, right?
No. Well, if you want to go back all the way into the 80s and 90s, then yes.
Yeah, they could always bring back Too Cool like they did with the Ascension. I'm like,
no, I mean they're not involved in any kind of storyline outside of Cena's backup.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for me, I'm predicting this right now. It's kind of being tossed around the live chat as well, but after we saw the Wyatt family interact with the Usos again this week, this isn't the first time either. I think that's the tag team championship at Payback if we do get one. And right now, I mean, just looking at the card, we've only got 3 official matches. We've got 3 potential matches, and I think we can add that to potential. So, but we'll talk about Payback in a few minutes. But yeah, I'm totally behind Luke Harper getting into a title race sooner than later, and I'd rather it be the tag team championships. I think pushing him and Rowan would be great. So I'm totally into that. But yeah, that was a fantastic match. All right, so I'm just gonna notate it that we are aware that WWE just signed the new TV deal. The new TV deal does include a Raw staying on USA, SmackDown on Sci-Fi, Total Divas on the E Network. There's no word yet on if SmackDown will air live, but that was potential something that was being talked about, and no idea if this will affect the WWE Network and the rate that it comes back, or that it's on replay rather. So. But
if you watch the stock market, it does.
Yeah. So yeah, we are aware that happened. We also are aware that there's 2 active lawsuits right now going against WWE for basically breach of trust with their shareholders for lying, saying that they were going to get double the deal that they had currently with NBC. So since that didn't happen, there's 2 active lawsuits. But we're not going to talk about it this week. We're going to talk about it next week once we get a little bit more information and see what happens. But yeah, for sure, WWE is in a bit of trouble right now. So Payback, June 1st, our WWE Payback pre-show will take place next week, May 27th. Also, we will also be previewing NXT Takeover. Scott Viper will be on the show next week, so if you're into Scott Viper, he'll be there. So yeah, let's talk about just real quick probable matches. We've got Jack Swagger versus Adam Rose, Paige versus Alicia Fox for the Divas Championship, Sheamus versus Antonio Cesaro for the U.S. Championship. World Heavyweight Championship obviously is up in the air. We won't know what's going on probably for another. Well, we'll know this week if they're going to do anything, but most likely not. Official matches on the show. Intercontinental Championship, Barrett will defend against RVD. Boo. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt in a last man standing match, and Shield versus Evolution in a no holds barred elimination match. Most likely our main event. So. Some other possible fillers, because it's only 6 matches. We could see Usos defend against the Wyatt family. There's also Ryback's out there. Who knows? Maybe they'll get involved. Big E versus Rusev is another match that has been sort of built.
Do you think the Union Jacks will get a shot at the tag team titles?
Oh man, that would be epic. I really wish they would continue that gimmick back in the States.
That's the whole reason they don't, though, because it's regional.
Oh yeah, totally. But I think it'd be fun and different. And sadly, though, El Torito versus Hornswoggle, the rematch that we've all been waiting for, doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So kind of disappointed on that.
I'm pissed that happened in the first place.
Oh my God, that was an awesome match, and you should feel bad for even suggesting you didn't like it.
The fact that there's a rematch is just worse.
Hopefully they get a ladder match at Money in the Bank. Okay.
Wait. Did you see that match, Harrison?
No, Torito versus Hornswoggle? No, I'm boycotting it.
Oh well, shut up! You didn't.
Seriously.
No.
You have no right to talk at this point.
I'm sorry. Hang on a second. Nick boycotts half of the programming we discuss on this show for months, and no one says boo.
I said a lot of shit about that. But you can't say that this match was terrible, and you can't believe the people want a rematch.
I didn't say it was a terrible match. I said I can't believe it's happened, and people are upset, and there's a possibility of it happening again. I didn't say it was a terrible match.
Oh, it's a fantastic match. You have to watch it.
No, I don't.
You have the WWE.
No. Harrison, seriously, watch the match. No,
dude, give yourself another nickname and boycott the match. Fine.
Come on, man. Don't be Lee.
Yeah.
All right. So, also, like I said, next week we'll be talking about NXT Takeover, so we'll be previewing that as well. That's their next live event, which will be on Thursday. So far booked, we've got the Women's Championship will be Charlotte versus the winner of Natalya and Sasha. Is that correct, Nick? We still don't know who's going. Okay, so we still.
Yeah, Natalya and Sasha will be wrestling this coming NXT.
Correct. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. So also tag team championships, El Loco and Kalisto put down a challenge to Ascension, so we'll see that. That'll be pretty cool. And then the
that was
NXT.
the whitest pronunciation ever.
Sorry.
El
Local.
El Local
guy.
and Kalisto.
Garvin was a guy, too, who spent I don't know how much of his time studying Spanish and making everything Spanish. Everything around Garvin around 2001 to 2005 was probably in Spanish. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have Huevos Rancheros. Yeah, DJ El Oso.
I did spend some time in Mexico City, and it was fun. I don't. They shouldn't be spelled the same as American words, okay?
Yeah, fuckers. The spelling. Oh, the fucking spelling.
That's like Joe level racism.
I do wish they changed El Local's name to something else if they were going to use him as a tag team.
Yeah.
Is he local though? Isn't that what local means in Spanish?
Yeah.
The local.
Yeah, but still.
Like a subway, the local?
No, it's like, the local jobber that used to be booked up against like Ryback or anything like that. Like it's just some unnamed guy, and they were playing on that. But
so Justin,
that was like 2 years ago. I don't know why they continued to use that name, but
you did lose to Ryback. Anyway.
Okay, NXT Championship. Adrian Neville defends against Tyson Kidd, and that match should be fantastic. I cannot wait. Wait.
It'll be a good match. I'm just bummed that it's Tyson Kidd. That Tyson Kidd is fighting for the NXT Championship.
Why?
I don't know. I think since he's already been up and around the WWE on the bigger stage, that it to me feels like a slight setback. I mean, you've got Natalya down there too, so maybe it's just like, we're married, so we're both gonna work down here. I don't know. It just seems a little out of place.
It makes sense the way he sold it. Just the fact that he's coming back from his injury and he's talking about this is the place where he's going to reinvent himself. So,
okay,
it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I like it because one, it's a good test bed. Two, I don't know how he feels about it, but if he's working NXT, he doesn't have to travel anywhere.
Nope.
So there is that. I don't know how much that really matters to someone like him, but being able to, with his wife, just kind of chill out and then not have to worry about being on a plane every 4 to 6 days.
Yeah.
Not everybody has to go to Florida, spend all their time in Florida to spend time with their wife, Harrison.
It was 95 and sunny every day this past month. It's awesome.
Oh dear. All right. Yeah, but that's going to be a fantastic match. I cannot wait to see it. You know, I was kind of excited that they were building up Brodus Clay versus Adrian Neville, but Neville.
Neville.
God bless him. What is wrong? But I am happy that they switched it out. So that's cool.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Harrisons.
Yeah. Let's jump into some Ask FTW. You can send your Ask FTW questions by emailing us. We've got an email form on the site, or you can send them to questions@ftwpodcast.com. You can also use the hashtag askFTW on Twitter. Most of you are in the Facebook group as well, so we collect them there, or on the Facebook page. YouTube, you can comment on our previous episodes on YouTube. That's cool too, or whatever. G+, you guys know how to get a hold of us, so keep sending them. Let's start off with with a question from G+. This is a Mandeep, and the question is, well, just recently started listening to these awesome podcasts. I like that. You guys all should start your questions with that. All right.
Yeah, a little fellatio doesn't hurt.
Warm us up a bit.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you for checking us out and continuing to listen. All right, so you guys talked about a possible feud between Cena versus Big E at SummerSlam, but doesn't a feud between Cena and Rusev seem more likely? Nick?
I don't know. Maybe. Because I guess Rusev, with the pro-Russian slant that they're giving him, maybe it makes sense to cast Cena as Hogan 2.0 in the Ultimate American role. So maybe eventually that's where this will end up, but I don't know. The rumors have been centered on Cena versus Big E at some point, given that Cena is apparently one of Big E's biggest backers. So at this point, I think I'm still going to say that Cena versus Big E is more likely. But I guess I wouldn't discount Cena versus Rusev at some point.
I could see Cena versus Rusev in the future. But I would rather see them push this off, because if you're talking SummerSlam, it's way too soon for anybody. But anybody in question anyway. But I think I'd like to see Swagger do it. I mean, yeah, you're supposed to hate the guy, but he's the fucking all-American, American. America. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily make sense to me either. Cena versus Rusev, I don't know. I don't know where they would go. I think it would be too soon to push Rusev against Cena. We saw what happens when you push a guy that is trying to get over against Cena, like a Ryback, or like Kane when he finally went back to being the monster. And it didn't end well for either of them, I don't think. So I think that would be a major mistake if WWE did put Rusev versus Cena. I think Cena versus Big E would probably work out well, because I think Big E can survive with a loss. I don't think Rusev can.
No, God, you're right. The problem with Cena pushing people is the same. It always starts out great because Cena can push. The problem is at the end, Cena has to win. And that is where you have problems. Cena versus Big E or Cena versus Rusev. The problem with Cena pushing somebody is in the beginning it always goes great. It went great with NXT or Nexus. Went really great with Nexus. Went really great with Ryback at first. But Cena's got to win. He's got to be Super Cena. He's got to have that utter domination, defeating you and driving you to the ground. And when you're a new talent, that's the worst thing for you when you're finally getting some heat. So for me, no, I wouldn't want Rusev to be going up against Cena. Big E, yeah, he's got a little more staying power, I think, but I think it would just snuff Rusev out too quickly.
So thanks, Mandeep, for that question. Keep sending them in. We'll answer them. Here is a bit of a rumor that has been going around the interwebs for
I love it.
I want to say I think we started talking about this idea maybe 5 or 6 months ago at least. But it seems to be picking up steam. This was brought to our attention by a few different people. So, but the rumor is going around that WWE is considering creating a new version of the Nation of Domination. Names being talked about right now is Big E, which would actually kind of make sense if we do see a Big E versus Cena. They could go that route and turn that stable heel. Another name being thrown out is R-Truth and Xavier Woods. So if they didn't go that route, they could easily have their first target being Rusev, as they've been kind of singled out by Rusev. Other names being thrown around are Mark Henry as the veteran, Titus as the main mouthpiece, and Kofi Kingston as the weak link if Xavier Woods fails at that. That's the only thing I can think of. So, thoughts?
Kofi could, Kofi would excel. Xavier Woods, R-Truth is going to be the lowest grade.
I don't know, man. You would kind of hope so because Xavier Woods does have a bit of a future. You would hope. I mean, he just kind of arrived. Kofi is another guy that we'd like to be pushed. R-Truth would be that guy who would be the weakest link, but going by how WWE is currently booking, Kofi and Xavier Woods do feel like the low man on the totem pole. At least in that group.
I think you've got your hardcore IC guy in Kofi Kingston. You have your tag team in Xavier Woods and R-Truth. I mean,
you got your main event.
Truth and consequences right there, man.
Right. All right, so Nick, overall your thoughts on this idea?
I guess it would be kind of interesting. I just don't know where they go after Rusev. What their purpose would be in staying together, who they would target next. Rusev is the obvious first target because, look at who he's been facing. But yeah, I just don't know where this would go. It seems to me like it almost had the same sort of directionless, the problem of direction that the Menagerie is having right now. Why are they there? After you take out Rusev, why are they there? Plus, this is obviously if this came to pass, it would obviously be WWE copying TNA with MVP, Kenny King, and Lashley.
I am now changing my win of the week.
Harrison, Joe, any other thoughts on this?
I love it. I love it. I love Nation of Domination. I thought it was an awesome stable. It really launched a lot of careers and solidified a lot of careers. I think you got, like Joe said it, you got your full roster of everybody you need to take every single belt. Not that they would, but you'd have Nation of Domination presence in every single title picture and every single tier of the company. I think it'd be fantastic. I think it'd be a great stable. And Nick, let's be honest here. The reason they exist wouldn't be to take on Rusev. The reason that they would exist would be to sell T-shirts, and they would do that. I think Nation of Domination, there's so much you can do with that marketing-wise, and I think there's a real potential there. Evolution is doing okay. I mean, it's kind of like seeing a dad's garage band kind of thing, where it's just a bunch of old guys playing on a Saturday night. It doesn't really have that kind of energy that you would expect. But a lot of these guys are up-and-comers, and I think definitely throwing this together would be great. And I think Mark Henry could really help sell it because he was in the old one.
That's fair.
Yeah, Mark Henry would be the Ric Flair.
Yeah, he would. Not in a bad way, but he would be the Ric Flair.
Is that when we get Jay Lethal to come in and he could be the Ric Flair for a while?
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Oh, man.
All you're doing is giving me more reasons to want this.
Yeah.
I don't see. This is just getting better and better. I mean, is there any? Okay, let's talk about.
Just like a woman in this instance, I'm going to tease you and tease you until you can't take it anymore, and then I'm going to leave you cold.
I'm going to slide right off my chair if you keep this up. Is there any downside to this? Can anybody think of anything?
The card.
Well, the downside, no, not necessarily, except for if they continue to push these guys how they have after the group is put together. I think that would be a problem. We've also seen larger stables like this done, like the Nexus, where they kind of just disbanded them for no reason. So I think that's a potential downside. And then the other thing is, a race is brought up so many times by the IWC. So, and especially when WWE is getting some negative press for the whole TV deal and lying to their people. It does it
Investors.
investors. There we go. It does feel
Thank you,
like
President Garvin.
those people that do things
With the money.
wise.
Out in New York on that street with the wall. You know what I'm talking about? Wall Street? No, that's not it.
That's not what it's called. Come on, be serious.
I have phone calls every 3 months, talk about things. And...
Conference call? No, it's the one with everybody on it.
So,
I love it. Oh, that's awesome.
Apparently, you have to be in the host role to get this type of shit.
It's a brain drain, man.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that would be the only thing standing in the way is, you don't want another thing of negative press, and I think because race is still a hot issue, and you have this all black group.
Not all black. Garvin, I do want to point out they did have a token white guy in Owen Hart, and Lou has taken care of that already by saying that Sheamus
Can be the token. Yeah, and I did forget that wasn't it Savio Vega was in the original Nation in Domination, and he was not. Yeah, so sure.
But brownish.
I want to see Heath Slater casting that role.
Oh my God! Yes, you cannot find somebody whiter than Heath Slater.
No, I think Primus. No, Sheamus. Sheamus is whiter. I would still love to see Sheamus and Ginger team up as a tag team, and just call them Melanoma.
So yeah, I don't know, but I love the idea. I just don't know if WWE will pull the trigger on the names here. But one name being thrown out in the live chat that I totally back is JTG. He should be in this talk as well.
Everybody makes fun of him. He's collecting a paycheck,
Yeah.
so he's doing something. I still firmly believe every good decision that WWE has made in the past 3 years is entirely because of him.
It's quite possible.
Hey, I'm JTG. Why don't we bring back Brock Lesnar?
Exactly. He is the Merlin to Triple H's and Vince McMahon's King Arthur. He is the guy standing to the side going, no, sir, we need to do this. And it's just why they... Yeah. He was probably telling Vince we shouldn't lie to the shareholders, and Vince is like, fuck them, they'll get it. And then all of a sudden running into this now.
All right, we are running out of time, so let's be pretty quick on these last few askFTW. First, Lou on Facebook. Knowing that AJ didn't really get over until she started cutting promos, is WWE dropping the ball with Paige by keeping her off the mic? Nick, your thoughts?
Possibly. I wouldn't necessarily put Paige on that same level as AJ as far as mic ability. She's passable, but she doesn't drop pipe bombshells, for lack of a better word. On the other hand, the only way you get better is through practice. So eventually they're going to have to give her some mic time on the main roster.
No, I don't think so. I think they're, like I said earlier, that they don't want to have Paige become AJ. They don't want to have this person that is essentially untouchable because there's no one that can really stand toe-to-toe with her. I think you just kind of keep her off the mic for a little bit, develop her, let the crowd, see if she can stand up to it, and then start to turn the heat up. I think if you slow play this, you'll have better results in the end, as opposed to just burning her up right when she first comes out. Which is what we really wanted. We wanted her against AJ from day one, and looking back on it, I really think that would have been a huge mistake.
I don't think you necessarily need to have her on the mic. I mean, have some small segments, but you don't need to, AJ her out. Let her tell her story in the ring because she's been doing a great job at doing that. With doing that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's different sides of a character that you can build up. With AJ, they pushed more of her, her outside of the ring character as well as her mic time before they really pushed her wrestling ability. And I'm okay with WWE focusing on the wrestling side with Paige first. So I think there's plenty of time to build up the rest of Paige, and she just got here, so let's not forget that. Corey in the live chat asked, with Lana coming out every week and shitting on the U.S., how long until Zeb and Swags turn face to answer Lana and Rusev? Honestly, what real American would allow that to stand week after week?
It's a good question, and you really would think that those two would immediately try to quash that. It definitely makes more sense from that perspective than to have Zeb and Swagger go after Adam Rose, because Adam Rose is foreign, but who's he really hurting? Rusev and Lana are actively promoting Putin on an American TV show, so I would think that would be the higher priority. They have sort of laid the groundwork by adding Lana and Rusev to that list of people that we must support, along with Emma and Santino. But yeah, I would think that eventually that would be a likely scenario.
I would love to see Swagger and Zeb come out and confront them. Like I was saying earlier, I would love to see Swagger do something interesting. I think if you plop him right in the middle of being a heel and a face, he's fighting for America, but he's still an asshole, a racist asshole. I think it could work. I think that actually could be a compelling character. Because you'll get it's kind of like the Paul Heyman syndrome, right? Right now, because you've got Paul Heyman and his client Brock Lesnar defeated the streak at WrestleMania, and then you've got him with fucking Cesaro, and everyone loves fucking Cesaro. Everyone loves Cesaro.
Damn it! I was like, oh, he teed it up. Oh, shit, he took it away.
Like I said, I'm that tease, Harrison. I'm that tease.
I'm popping out of the shirt. I don't know what you're doing to me here. I'm going to have to cut holes right above the nipples because it's just chafing like crazy. Yeah, Joe, you're absolutely right. And you are new too, Nick. The problem is just not yet. Lana and Rusev are doing great, but I don't think the crowd is really at that patriotic fervor where they're crying out to a champion. I think if they played this right and they let this play out a little bit more and just keep going, they can get to that level that we were at with HBK and the Canadian flag and that whole thing. I really think there's potential there for Rusev and Lana to really turn it up to that level, but it's just going to take some time. And I think if you bring Zeb and Swagger in now, it's going to kill that before it gets really to where it's really good.
I'm just picturing HBK's feud with that Canadian flag.
When he humped it. Specifically that moment. Let's be honest. That moment was like the triumph of that whole feud.
Yeah.
When he humped the flag in the middle of the ring. I mean, that was epic. And it was like pure HBK. And the crowd fucking hated him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was a good thing he didn't do that in Brazil.
Yeah,
otherwise he would have been suspended.
Jericho brought that up while talking to Daniel Bryan on his podcast. By the way.
Yes, he did.
Awesome.
All right, so yeah, for
Thank
me,
you, Joe, for advertising other shows while we're only doing this one. That's great.
It is wrestling related, you cack.
Yeah, it's.
everyone's
Don't stop listening now. Wait until this one's done. Still listen to our show, but in addition to our show, listen to Jericho's.
Well, at least it's not Stone Cold's anymore, because I was getting tired of hearing plugs for that show. All right, so
Stamps.com.
I've never listened to this show, but that is just fucking hilarious, Joe.
I listened to the first couple episodes, but okay, let's keep on topic. I like the idea of Zeb eventually taking his team against Rusev. I think it's a perfect match. Swagger is not that guy, though. I think there is going to be an addition to the team. They've already laid the groundwork that Zeb is looking for another Zeb Coulter guy to bring in. I'm not sure who that would be. Maybe that's where Big E Langston fits in. I have no idea. I really have no idea who they could fit there, but I think it's got to be someone other than Jack Swagger. I don't think Jack Swagger should be the guy to dismantle Rusev. That's just me, though. So
Big E is also from Iowa.
Yeah.
So, but I almost want to see Swagger versus Rusev because Swagger has to defend that title. He's taking a big hoss. So.
Yeah. I did see that as well. All right, real quick. I just want to name, no explanation. This one is from fanstalkwrestling.com, one of our discussions of the days. I think it was earlier this week, or maybe it was today, I can't recall. But who is your favorite new wrestler right now, Nick?
He's not necessarily new, but after being put on the spot, despite the fact that I did write this, gonna have to say Sami Zayn. He's just basically got it all. And I guess technically you could say he is new to the main roster because he did have that dark match for main event tonight. And apparently it was really, really good. So, yeah, Sami Zayn's just got it all.
Harrison.
Oh, man. Favorite, how new are we talking here?
A couple months.
Couple months?
Since WrestleMania.
Since WrestleMania. Not favorite, but the one I'm most surprised by, and that's Rusev. And the only reason I say that is because Nick hyped him up to no end. I mean, he talked about Rusev like he was the dragons in Game of Thrones. Don't worry, guys, it's going to be awesome when they finally show up. It's going to be epic. And he did, and he's kind of delivering. I mean, he's not as good as I would have thought with the illustrious salesman that is Nick pitching me this guy, but he's better than I thought he would have been. He's not really. He's not my favorite, but out of everybody that we've seen since WrestleMania, he's the one that I'm most looking forward to seeing week after week after week after, and so on.
Yes.
I forgot that I asked you not to explain. Sorry, Joe.
I'm gonna say Bray Wyatt has been the newest guy that I've really fell in like with.
Not really new, but I'm sort of with you in the idea. Luke Harper, my favorite new wrestler, in that we're finally getting to see him wrestle, so I think that counts for me. Some other names. Yeah. So another name being thrown out there in the live chat is Paige. Paige is great. I think she can do some good things. So I'm really excited to see where this goes with her. Sonata and TNA, I think, is another good name to throw out there. Bo Dallas. He's wrestled in NXT. Bo Dallas is going to be good. You just wait. Bo Dallas is going to be epic. I cannot wait.
So in 4 months when we ask this question again, I can just answer Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
All right, so thanks everyone for sending in your askFTW. Now it's time for Win Fail. Joe, your win of the week.
My win of the week is Alicia Fox's win on Raw. I'm really glad to see Alicia continuing with this new shade of gimmick, and I think it's really interesting TV, especially for the Divas division. Keep it up.
Harrison, your win of the week?
My win of the week is the WWE stock taking a tumble. Part of the reason was for the Lioness shareholders. The other reason was, according to a few analysts, because they want more subscribers for the app. The WWE promised 1 million by the end of the year, and they're at 700,000, I think, or they're really close to 700,000.
667.
667, but it's only May. So the fact that they got this much ramped up now is pretty great. I mean, a lot of that's probably because of the initial hype, but still, good things are coming. The fact that the stockholders want more out of this, and that few of them expressed disappointment at the fact that they signed a new TV deal that they did, or in the capacity that they did, with the longevity of what they did, that's awesome for us because we don't want to pay for cable. So the idea of us being able to get all WWE content on an app is pretty awesome. We want it. WWE clearly wants to do it, and now their shareholders do. So as far as all the stars aligning to making this kind of thing happening, or make this kind of thing happen, it looks like it is. At least for me, that's my win. I do apologize. When I say that we all want it, I definitely want it. So that's my win. Plus Nick for the Nation of Domination WWE TNA comparison. That was epic.
Yeah. Nick,
my win this week is Zayn versus Neville, their dark match tonight. Mentioned it before. Somebody posted a video of the match, and although it is very muted, very little sound comes out of it beyond the entrance themes. It's very clear picture. It looks like it's been filmed for main event. So I don't know if it actually is a dark match or if it's going to be aired, but it's a very quality match between those two. The crowd was clearly into it, and I can only assume that we'll be seeing these two on main roster programming pretty soon if this is the case. So.
All right, wins from the live chat. We've got the twit pick from TNA of Abyss's crotch hanging out.
I can't believe you missed that one.
So we will have that. We'll have that in the show notes if you have not seen it yet. Blue Cactor, he attended Raw for the first time, so that was his win of the week, which is really cool. Crazy Steve, I think Crazy Steve was a part of the win, so that's one of the week from Diva Jill. If not, I'm gonna use that anyways. So for me, my win of the week, I think, definitely has to go to this brutal feud we're getting between Alicia Fox and Paige. I think, it was kind of shocking that Alicia Fox won the way she did, and it's nice to see some back and forth with the champion. I was kind of nervous about the direction the feud was going because Alicia Fox had lost the last two matches against Paige, so it was good to see that progress. So I'm totally for that. Fails, Joe, your fail of the week.
The fact that we had a beat the clock challenge on Raw. I don't find them very. I just personally don't like them. It's like it's right up there with the championship scramble match, which I like in a way, but I hate the fact that they're saying, "Oh, this guy's the new champion," until somebody else pins him. Well, no, he's not. He's just the guy who's holding essentially the marker until the actual champion is crowned at the end of the match. That's my bitch with that one. But no, I don't like the beat the clock challenge. In that, to me, it's just kind of a waste, especially if you get a guy who's got a short time. Then it's just like, oh, you didn't beat him in 2 minutes. Oh, fuck you,
Harrison, you're. I'm sorry. No, yeah, Harrison, your fail of the week.
That's okay. I don't like beat the clock either. It's a great concept. For some reason, it just doesn't sell. For me, it was Bear's promo on Raw. It started off great. By giving us a preview of what RVD is going to look like when he visits Amsterdam. All right, never mind. But that just got so awkward because basically what he said was, you got to fight me for the Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, did we lose Harrison?
More cheering, and we're the home of Greenwich Mean Time. And he just lost the crowd when he said that. There was like this awkward kind of, yeah. It was just the weirdest thing.
Real quick, add a note. Was I on delay again?
No, Harrison dropped out.
Okay, thank you.
I can only hear Joe right now.
That's a fail.
Lovely.
All right, Nick, your fail of the week.
Do I have to do my fail again?
No, I guess not.
Okay.
No, I think you're good. We heard it. There was just a slight delay.
Yeah. All right, Nick, your fail of the week.
My fail of the week is JBL refusing to shut the hell up during Rose's entrance. And I guess that could extend to everybody on commentary at that time, but at least Michael Cole and Lawler were putting Rose over. It just goes back again to me absolutely hating JBL in this role as NXT General Manager because he doesn't do his job whatsoever except when Cole happens to bring up, oh, hey, you're General Manager of NXT, aren't you? Yes, I am. I'm doing really great at it, too. I wish they'd just picked somebody else to replace Dusty, if they had to replace Dusty at all. I'd go die in a fire, JBL.
Fails from the live chat. We've got Stephanie's British accent attempt.
Oh, boo! That was awesome.
TNA tweeting a picture of Abyss's junk hanging on the top of a rope.
How was that a fail?
Hey, you got to look at it both ways, I guess.
Psychological trauma.
Mm.
What are you talking about? You just gotta feel proud for him.
That he's at the correct height to hang his junk on the middle rope.
Well, that too.
The first hour of Impact gets a fail.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It
can
did
agree with
drag
that as
very
well.
badly.
My fail is also this beat the clock challenge. Not so much the matches that we received. I mean, Big E versus Ryback I thought was good. Dolph's match was good. You know, you've got all of these good talent that we want to see be put into a spot like this. Pay-per-view match for a title. That'd be awesome. Ryback finally getting an opportunity. And we get RVD. That's my fail of the week. RVD gets another title match. Completely undeserving. All right, let's go into final thoughts. Any final thoughts before we head out, guys?
I have a final thought.
Okay.
So the past few weeks, I have been struggling with juggling my new move down to Florida, my new family down here in Florida, and my job down here in Florida. And as such, the podcast had to take kind of a back seat. As much as I tried to be on and make sure I could, host or at least attend, sometimes it would absolutely come up to the last minute where I would have to, text Garvin and Joe and tell them I can't make it. And not once did they get pissed. You guys did awesome.
You
Garvin
didn't hear the show last week, did you?
Let me back that up. Not once did they not get pissed at me directly when there was no audience for comedic involvement. What you said on the show was fine because obviously it was in good taste and everybody loved it. But you guys never once privately pulled me aside and gave me shit for it, and I do appreciate that. On the show, it's a completely different story because this is all for entertainment anyway. So I do want to say thank you. And my final thought is you guys rock. You guys are very understanding. And as I come and go over the next couple weeks, trying to get things into some semblance of order, being a new dad and everything, I do want to thank you guys for accommodating me as much as you have. And then obviously, please, you have to make fun of me on the show or else what's the point?
Exactly.
Well, I definitely appreciate you on the show, Harrison. And like we do for all of our guests, if anyone would like to reach you, how would they do that? I know you're not on Twitter. At least you haven't tweeted in a year.
Year plus. Garvin messaged me and said happy anniversary, which I thought was awesome. I felt terrible because I didn't get you anything. But then you said it was because it was a year since I last sent my last tweet. It was from this article I read about how boring. I don't know. I don't think I have anything interesting to say. But if you have to reach me, just go to Garvin first and he'll get it to me.
One awkward thing for a final thought for me, with everybody who says, WWE and TNA are emulating each other, I think I just found out the emulation here. On Legends House, there was a joke that I think it's Hillbilly Jim brought some sausages in. He went shopping with Tony Atlas, and they bought some sausages. Well, Hillbilly Jim tells Jimmy Hart, who basically only eats like 3 foods.
Yeah.
He does not eat hot dogs. He does not eat hamburgers. He does not eat, pizza because it's got crazy stuff on it, be like pepperoni. I would just he's basically he eats beige, like a friend.
We
of
know a
ours.
guy. We know a guy like
Yeah, we
that.
know a guy like that. But at least he branches out a bit more. That being said, they tell him that the sausage, like, yeah, we got this sausage. It's a bull penis. It's a bull penis. We're gonna fry it up. It's gonna be pretty good. And he's freaking out about it until Tony Atlas goes, "Come on, what? That's not no bull penis. That's only like this long." And those who benefited you on YouTube, who watch this on YouTube, you can see. I mean, we're talking what? Maybe a short distance,
Yeah.
right? Maybe the width of a head or an ass. I don't know.
Finger football field goal.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty much it. Although we use different things for measurement. That's the metric system. No. But then they start going on. He's like, Tony, I was like, man, a bull penis is gonna. You think a 2,000-pound animal is gonna have a penis that small? It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be at least as long as your arm. And Jimmy Hart's like, yeah, right. And then TNA turns around and gives us a bish junk on the middle row. The emulation is there.
Joe, I gotta be
That is
honest.
at least as valid as anything else I've seen on G+, so bravo.
I gotta be honest. Good
Oh,
job,
dear.
man. I gotta be honest. It was a long trip, but you took us there. You got us to the promised land. You were
We
like Moses
the
in the
people.
desert.
We the
That
people.
was awesome.
Nick, any final thoughts?
You gotta top that.
Only that I have to change my win of the week to the gift that Lou posted in the live chat of Rockstar Spud emulating the what is it, the crotch chop that Bully does, and just going way overboard with it. That is hilarious.
Austin Aries has an awesome reaction. How he just stops, kind of just rubs his face, and he's like, "All right, so this is happening."
And for everyone who's listening on demand, we will have all of this stuff available in the show notes, ftwpodcast.com. So, and that's the show. Go check out ftwpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. We love the chance to read and respond to your feedback. That's why we bring your questions onto the show. For even more WWE and TNA discussions with the rest of the FTW community, you need to go to fanstalkwrestling.com. We've got a lot of great writers over there who have been kicking ass over the last few weeks, so definitely get involved. And if you're a writer, we are looking for more, so get in touch. We record every episode of FTW on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on FTWLive.com. For myself, Joe, Nick, Harrison, and everyone in the live chat, we'll see you next Tuesday. Harrison, finish us up.
Peace in the Middle East.